Alright, hello and welcome back to another episode for MC Airsoft. I am Mark, and today we're going to be talking about Forgrips. So it's pretty simple on the outside of things. You pick out a foregrip you like the look of, and you throw it on your rifle, and then you end up not using it, or you end up not liking it if you are using it, and there's some issues with it. So really there's two kinds of foregrips. There are foregrips that are designed to do other things as well as be a foregrip. Something like this one from, I believe this is Knights. I should have looked before the video. Nope, just Grip Pod. It is a grip pod from Grip Pod, so go figure. But something like that, it's a bipod and it's a foregrip. You can get light foregrips, you can get laser foregrips, you can get foregrips that mount to M203s and things of that nature. You can get different versions of grenade launchers that also have a foregrip built on. So first category, I'm not really going to touch on it too much because there's a lot of different options, and more often than not you're going to use it and then suit that extra need on top of what you're already on top of it being a grip, right? So something like the grenade launcher that's underslung on the G36 series, does it have a pistol grip? Yes. Are you going to use that pistol grip very often? Maybe. Can you modify that? No, it's just something you're going to have to get used to. So other things like bipod grips and laser grips, light grips, they're a little more common than your more specialty things, but they're not really what we're going to be talking about today because they are extra, right? They are a light plus a grip, in my opinion. They are a bipod plus a grip. Their first and primary usage, like this one, for example, is as a bipod and then as a grip. So the second one is just normal grips. Now, if you're questioning, well, what about hand stops? What about angle foregrips? And this one's 30 degrees, this one's 45 degrees, this one's 10 degrees. This one's skeletonized aluminum, this one's polymer, this one's, it doesn't really matter. Because grips really have one job, and that is to aid in the grip of your rifle, grip and manipulation. So it doesn't matter. I've run angle foregrips. I had one on my M16 back in the day. I'm using vertical grips like this. You can get stubby ones, you can get long ones, it really doesn't matter. I like this one because it has a little bit of extra storage, and I had it on my shelf. This thing is, again, like a lot of the odds and ends that I have, it's probably older than a lot of airsofters. So yeah, so your shorter ones, your hand stops or barricade braces or whatever you want to call them, they are at one end of the spectrum. Then you have really magwell grips at the other. So some companies have taken to using magwell grips or making magwell grips, things to make the magwell grippier. Why would you want that over a foregrip? It's really because of two reasons. One, while this is less accurate of a movement, it is a bigger motion. This does go slightly faster. You can go with a counter supination grip and go even faster, right? Because you're locking in more muscles. But really, the magwell grip is great because you can brace it and you can hold that for the foreseeable future, right? If you sit there like this for 5 minutes, your arm's going to be shaking, right? Most of the time. I don't work out too much, but so this is great for accurate small movements. I can make small adjustments. I can do things like that. That's great. Maybe take some longer range shots, a little more stable if I'm not leaving it out there for very long. But if I'm going to be stalking, like I play mostly outdoors, so I do a lot of walking and clearing along ranges and things like that, I'm going to hold a magwell grip. If I'm waiting for maybe the other team to pop up and come at us, I'm going to have a magwell grip. So that is your first option. Now, a lot of companies are putting skulls and Spartan helmets and all sorts of weird crap on the magwell. Just get you something that makes it comfortable to hold, maybe makes it a little more grippy, but make sure you can still manipulate the replica, the gun, whatever you want to call it, so you can still get to the magazine release. You can still do everything you need to do for your particular rifle. Now that is limiting because there are certain guns like the AK that just don't have options like that. You can grab the magwell, that's fine, as long as it's a good tolerance, good fit in there. But it's not really meant for that, or arguably maybe it is. But either way, you can't add accessories there. And then the next thing is just going to be rail, right? It is going to be your rail, whatever you're using, your rail system, or however you're mounting it to other weapon systems, is going to be your rail. So you're going to look at, and I should have grabbed a pistol for this, but you're going to look at roughly where your pistol sits, right? So if I use this, which is close enough to a pistol, right, and I hold it out, right, I'm driving my thumbs because force of habit, but if I pop it out and then I take it, put it in my offhand without switching, right, or my dominant rifle hand, I leave my hand in position and I draw it back into the pocket of my shoulder, I want to throw my grip wherever that is on there. Now, obviously, if you have other weapon systems like a MP5, for instance, that maybe has a shorter rail, well, you're just going to have to work with that, right? But you don't want to reach out all the way, and especially for a gun like this on a person my size, because that is the barrel. And well, yes, there's no flash, there's no burning powder, hot gases, whatever, barrel heat to worry about. I can still, on pretty much every airsoft gun, cause a point of impact shift by touching the barrel. Now, generally speaking, it's going to return to that if I release it, so I shouldn't have to worry too much. This one is certainly a lot stiffer than my other rifle, but I don't want to be grabbing out that far because, one, this is not a stable shooting position. I need more musculature control. English is failing me. But so I want to shrink back into what is roughly comfortable. Now, there's something that happens when you're doing that, right? So as I draw my hand back, it starts to twist. If I allow my wrist to act naturally, my elbow to act naturally, it's going to move in an arc, right? It doesn't come straight in and out like old school rails would have you believe, but it doesn't come in and out like that. If I allow my wrist to do what it wants to naturally, it's going to come in and out like this. And this arc is important. So if you do that and you hold your rifle, now this is assuming also you have your buttstock set up properly, which is It should sit in the pocket of your shoulder. If you're wearing a plate carrier, you might want to go one notch in or slightly shorter, however your rifle does it. If you might want to go one stock out, one notch out, that's going to be on you, but it should, generally speaking, be in the pocket of your elbow there. So as my hand, I'll do my best to stay on camera, as my hand comes back further, it starts to open this gap on the pinky side, right? And it comes naturally to the mag well, which is a flat surface. But even then, my hand still wants to be at an angle, which is where your mag well extra grips might come in handy. So if I'm starting at my natural position and I draw it back, it's going to open up, right? So the further forward you go, the more flat your hand grip can be. To the extent that if you are far enough forward, my pinky, all I really need is this rail section, right? If I'm grabbing with my index finger at the front of the rail there, my grip is going to be flat enough. All I really need is that rail section there, which is just a normal Magpul M-Lock rail adapter, right? And that's fine. Now I might want to put a muzzle stop or a hand stop at the front so I don't go over the muzzle device and start gripping over the rail and start gripping my barrel, which is what hand stops are for. A lot of people mount them backwards, they have them backwards, and whatever's comfortable. But the original intent was, because people are starting to go over into short barrel rifles or pistols, ATF, in the real steel community, because people are starting to run these shorter barrels, which this is about a 10.5 inch barrel, and maybe they're a taller individual, they don't want to end up grabbing the barrel, so you shoot out real quick and you end up hitting a hand stop. You want everything behind the hand stop probably removed, but it stops your hand from going onto the barrel and allows you to drive forward onto target to fight recoil. As much recoil as an AR has, right? Which isn't a whole lot, but a little bit more on M4 platforms, but that's doesn't really matter for Airsoft. So you can mount a hand stop backwards, that's going to be on you. It's not really the intention of them, and you can obviously mount one at the front to stop if you're running, especially the really short rifles like 5-inch barrel or something like that. But as I come back into my natural shooting position, you see my hand starts to open up, which this is where you get your 10 to 45 degree grip angles. And then if you're back here, maybe you can put a vertical grip and actually use it like a vertical grip. Now what I will say is, you get out of a vertical grip, you get a little bit better, let's see if I can do this without looking completely stupid. You get a little bit better weapon manipulation, right? There we go. Okay. You get a little bit better weapon manipulation. You can punch it out a little bit easier, especially coming from high port. I find this a lot quicker and a lot easier than your standard thumb over bore or thumb alongside grip or whatever kids are doing these days. But as I move back, I can bring it back onto here, and I can maintain that nice open grip that I have up here just fine. I'm essentially using it as you would a 45 degree, but it allows me a little bit more versatility. One, because I have it stuffed full of zip ties, little ones for like, oh, my sight's falling off, or you can even, back in the day I had to zip tie a receiver together because I think the guy lost one of his pins, and it held for at least the next couple months from what I remember. So but zip ties are always useful. You could put whatever you want in there, Skittles, whatever. But then if I need to do more CQB kind of things, right, switching shoulders especially is fine there, and it gives me something to grab onto, nice and solid. I can use it as a barricade stop. I can use it however I need to, and it gives me a little bit more purchase and a little bit more speed here, right? So, so that's why I run this. But for the most part, at longer ranges, it's going to just, or if I need a little bit more accuracy out of it, it's going to allow me to grip it like a 45-degree kind of grip, right? And of course, mag bow grip back here is fine. But yeah, so all grips that don't serve other purposes like bipod are for the same purpose. Don't get hung up on it. Look in a mirror, record yourself, whatever you need to do. Grab your rifle in a comfortable position. You can hold your pistol out first, figure out that, grab your rifle. And then that is a rough basis for your comfortable position. And then you can slide your hand back or you can open up your hand, figure out your grip angle, figure out what angle you need to be at to shoot accordingly, right? Don't get too hung up on like, oh, well, I need to have my thumb all the way around because, you know, Chris Costa or Magpul or, you know, whoever's doing it. You don't need to control recoil on an airsoft gun. Even the recoil system ones, they don't have recoil to speak of. I don't care who you are. So you don't need to grip it all the way around, and that's going to cause you to break your wrist in an outward angle. It's going to damage your wrist over time. So, yeah. The counter supination thing, pretty good. I like it. I don't play a lot of CQB, but it is great for shooting long range as well. You come underneath the magazine, right? Underneath the magazine on that side. Yeah. And then it's nice and stable. And again, I can hold this for years. It's fine there, right? But counter supination out here is pretty good, right? So it really just depends on what you're doing. But as long as you're being mindful of what you're doing, and of course, if you want to get a grip because it looks cool, go ahead and get it. This is Airsoft. It's mostly a fashion show anyway. But until next time, stay safe and stay hydrated.